Give them a shot to do what?
HSP Podcast is in the house. Trendsetter. I'm Jeff Martin, and we got your Elimination Chamber preview coming up right now. Trendsetter, what is going on? How you doing? Been a while, but glad to be back here. And let's get started. The final hurdle before WrestleMania, and that is this Saturday in Toronto, Elimination Chamber. The Chamber, Trendsetter, let's talk about it.
Yeah, let's talk about it, man. A lot has happened in between our last episode. Personally, professionally, and in terms of this business you and I are covering, which is very, very crazy. But I'm looking forward to it. You're right, Jeff. The stage will be set at the end of Elimination Chamber on the road. I can't believe I'm saying it. On the road to WrestleMania, man. I'm so excited to talk about it right now because a lot of it now, we kind of have an idea of what's going to happen at WrestleMania, but a lot of the questions that we currently have right now are going to be answered at Elimination Chamber.
Well, we already know what the title matches are going to be. We have some kind of a semblance of vision of like what is going to happen. You got Jey Uso and Gunther. We got Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair. What's going to happen with the other titles? That's what we're going to find out at the Chamber this Saturday. So we're looking forward to that. So we'll definitely be on the road now for WrestleMania. I'd say this is the last final stop, the final, pit stop before we get into there. So let's talk about it. Yeah, and it just goes by faster every year. And, it's kind of scary to think about it because, it just goes by fast, and next thing you know, we'll be in the summertime. Then we'll be back into it just goes by really fast. And the only positive here in the Northeast is that the last couple of days we've been in the 50s. So hallelujah, right? And we feel like spring is just around the corner. But of course, we definitely get into that springtime feeling because WrestleMania is right around the corner as well. I believe it's like less than 60 days now, or maybe at that in between 60 and 70 days, but we're getting close. So this will be the final hurdle, the final pit stop. Let's talk about it in Toronto, Canada this Saturday on Peacock. And this PLE, obviously, Trendsetter. What I like about this is because right now, WWE, what they're doing is that there's not a lot of like things 100% that you're going to go into this and be, oh, this is going to happen, that's going to happen. We know the things for sure. WWE has done a good job in being unpredictable, not being a clear-cut road to any of these superstars and their path. And so heading into this, especially in the men's chamber, it's a lot of like, man, Drew could win, CM Punk could win. A lot of people have claim to this final spot to take on Cody Rhodes at Mania, but we begin with the women's, and that probably has a bit of a more clear path because of what happened this past Monday night. We've got Alexa Bliss, Liv Morgan, who congratulations on winning the tag team titles with Raquel Rodriguez three times WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, along with Bianca Belair and Naomi. Of course, they are no longer the tag team champions. Bayley and Roxanne Perez Miss Royal Rumble, actually, who had a unbelievable, amazing performance at this year's Royal Rumble match. So when you look at these 6 women in this matchup, what are you looking for? Is there a clear-cut choice for you? And do you think that we're going to see more of a defined role for, like, say, like a Naomi and Bianca Belair heading into Mania now? Because are they even favorites now heading into the Chamber to come out victorious?
Well, first of all, the main thing I'm looking forward to, as I'm sure anybody would on any Elimination Chamber, as I get my words out, is for everyone to get out healthy. That's what you want so badly if you're management. You want your talent to go not 100% unscathed, but can walk out of there and go towards the next event, which is WrestleMania. For me, similar to what you said before, Jeff, I feel this is a little bit more clear cut. Listen, there's always the dynamic because, me, I'm just so usually annoyed when champions go into an event like this and they're not defending their titles on the actual card. Hence the women's champions, the former women's champions, and now the current ones, which are Liv Morgan and
Raquel Rodriguez.
I drew a blank there.
That's how long we have been doing this thing.
I know it's been a while.
A little rusty. Got to shake that rust off there.
Great main event on Raw. But I honestly feel if I'm looking at all these individuals have certain stories behind them in terms of what's going on. But to me, it's got to be clear cut. I really feel it's setting itself up for Liv Morgan again. I really do. Even though she is the tag team champion now, I feel it's leaning towards her because I don't know. I still feel like this whole story with stories, right? With mommy, with Rhea Ripley still has not finished until WrestleMania comes around. We thought Charlotte was going to be put in that scenario because again, there is a scenario there in terms of a storyline with those two, possibly some unfinished business. They're one-on-one with each other at WrestleMania. That's not the case now. I really feel this is setting itself up for Liv Morgan, who's had an unbelievable year, Jeff. I never remember any superstar, male or female, that have had a year like this. So to me, I think it's leaning towards Liv Morgan coming out of the Elimination Chamber as the victorious one, going to compete for the world title.
Well, I wouldn't mind that at all. And yes, she's had a tremendous 2024 and 2025. Yes, she did lose to Rhea Ripley at the first Raw on Netflix. But hey, that's a little hiccup there. And she's made up for it now, winning the tag team titles for 3 times. So she has been on a current roll. Would I love to see it? Of course. I think a lot of people, though, would not want to put this at a WrestleMania just because, hey, we've seen this already enough. Maybe give it to somebody else. Now we know Io Sky has got
it.
Yeah, I know we got Io Sky, who has that opportunity on Monday Night Raw for that women's championship against Rhea Ripley. But is she going to be able to beat Rhea Ripley? I don't think so. So without Io Sky, and I think that we're going to see Jade Cargill show up here. I don't know if it's going to be at the Chamber, maybe, perhaps, but that story's got to go somewhere because with Bianca Belair and Naomi in this one, could they be the first 2 people to open up the Chamber? Could we start seeing dissension in the ranks between them? Somehow, some way, Jade Cargill is going to get a revenge because I don't think it was Liv Morgan or Raquel who did that to Jade. So are we going to see a triple threat between Jade, Cargill, Naomi, and Bianca at WrestleMania? Something's going to happen sooner or later that we're going to see Jade Cargill back. So to me, it eliminates them too. To me, Liv Morgan she's going to have probably be defending the tag team titles at WrestleMania with Raquel Rodriguez. So then when you see Bayley, Roxanne, Perez, and Alexa Bliss, what's going to happen there? I just don't know. I think we're going to get Bayley to win. Roxanne Perez is a sleeper. She has been obviously had a Royal Rumble appearance where she was very, very, really, really good. It actually was the last one in there with Charlotte Flair before getting eliminated. So she had a good showing. She's been the NXT Women's Champion. And could she possibly be? No, I don't think so. But I think that she's a wild card. And Alexa Bliss is she going to factor in here? Is she going to get with the Wyatt 6 eventually down the road? I'm going to say Bayley is going to come out victorious here. And I think Bayley is, to me, heading to WrestleMania to just cement that legacy of Rhea Ripley even more. Is it a dream matchup? Have we seen it before? I'm not sure how much of a dream match it is, but I think another win over a 4 horsemen, if you want to say so, I think would solidify Rhea Ripley. So I'm going to say Bayley just by the process of elimination. Don't count out Alexa Bliss, but I do think that it's going to be Bayley who comes out victorious at the Elimination Chamber. And I just think it's just by the by narrowing it down. You don't see Naomi or Bianca Belair winning this, do you?
Yeah, I don't. And with Alexa right now, it'd be easy to say, oh yeah, well, Alexa, she's came back. That's something we haven't seen before. But in the scenario, in terms of both being somewhat type faces, I don't know if that's going to necessarily work on that aspect. I think she still has a storyline to do with the Wyatt 6, which I think will eventually happen when she goes to SmackDown. So yeah, I mean, listen, when you talk about Bayley, it makes sense. And listen, I would be wrong if I didn't mention this as well, which I think a lot of people aren't talking about nowadays. So that you just mentioned Bayley being a former horsewoman. Another horsewoman that faced Rhea Ripley was Becky Lynch, and she has still yet to be mentioned. You would think maybe she would work her way into the Elimination Chamber. That hasn't been the case now, so we don't know if that's going to happen now. Maybe post WrestleMania, which Becky should be ready. She's ready now to come back, but they haven't used her. But I don't know. I just feel like from my standpoint, yeah, like the points you made were like, hey, listen, we've seen Liv Morgan, Rhea again, but no offense to you, but I'm not complaining about it. I like the chemistry these two have. I like the fact that when you put this scenario in terms of this revenge tour that Liv Morgan had before, and basically this was going to be nothing, and what it's turned into in terms of the storylines integrating with Rhea Ripley and the Judgment Day. With Bayley, I get it, but I feel she has still something to settle, or Roxanne Perez is going to be a thorn in her side, so I don't see that really happening. So I get your point, but I'm leaning more towards Liv. I want to see this again one more time on the biggest stage, because listen, here's one thing that causes me to lean more towards Liv, because as much as they are tag team champions, let's be honest too, when it comes to the tag team division, especially the women's, no offense here, guys, but it hasn't been something that's been taken seriously that, oh, we need to defend the women's tag team titles at WrestleMania. So that's kind of why I kind of overlook that to a certain degree. Who knows? They could lose the titles from this point on to WrestleMania. You never know. That's where Jade could fit herself into this equation, but I'm still leaning towards Liv. Bayley, listen, Bayley already has her legacy cemented. I just feel right now in this scenario, her in the title picture, for me, I'm leaning more towards Liv. I think with Bayley, I've seen it. I've done it before, similar to what you mentioned with Liv, but that's more of an intriguing story than Bayley.
And I think giving her the tag team titles, it would be a detriment to the tag team titles for them not to be defended at WrestleMania and just be there as a prop for Liv and Raquel, just to go through WrestleMania and not have those defended, right? Just keep going through it. And I think, too, just by the process of elimination, I think, too, that to me, this past Monday night solidified the chances that Liv Morgan does not go to WrestleMania and take on Rhea Ripley. Yes, I would not mind to see it, but I think the majority of the fans have been there already. Show me something. And it just shows you right now, too, that the contenders for Rhea Ripley's championship right now are few and far between. Do I think Io Sky is worthy? Yeah, I would love to see that at WrestleMania. But if we were going to see that at WrestleMania, we probably had to build up to that. But it doesn't look like we're going to get it. We're going to get it this Monday night. And then Becky Lynch is a factor too, but we've already seen that last year. Could she interject maybe possibly after the Chamber? Perhaps. But if I were to say, Alexa Bliss could be Roxanne Perez, I think it's just too soon. So that leaves Bayley. And listen, will she be past the Elimination Chamber next Monday night, perhaps be in the main event? Maybe not. But I think past when we get to the Chamber, though, I got to make a pick. I'm going to still, for some reason, pick Bayley here. And we'll see what happens. But that's going to be my pick. We'll see what you guys decide. Tune into all our social media this weekend and follow the HSP High Spot podcast on all our platforms. And comment. Let us know what you guys think. Let us know who you think is going to come out the winner here of the Women's Elimination Chamber. And, of course, we'll do our post-show live on IG Live immediately after Elimination Chamber. So we got that one. You're going to say Liv Morgan. I say Bayley. Let's move on to this one. This is the one I'm probably looking forward to the most. And it's Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Now, obviously, they've turned on each other more than you and I have in the past few months. Obviously, this is a match that you put them in Canada, in Toronto, near their hometown, and they're going to really go crazy. Plus, Trendsetter, it is unsanctioned. We know how these guys are, best of friends, enemies, back to being best of friends. But now it is really to the point now where, hey, they got to have an unsanctioned match. We know what it's like when they get in the ring. What's going to happen in Toronto with that atmosphere at the Rogers Center, over 50,000 plus here? It is going to be crazy. And to predict the winner here, I'm just going to say Kevin Owens is going to come out victorious here. I think that this is a way to get him closer to Randy Orton at WrestleMania. I believe that's what they're going to go with. Sami Zayn, I don't know what the future holds for him as far as a Mania match, but this is the one I'm looking forward to. This is the match you want to tune into. This is going to be a very memorable one just because it is Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. It is going to be crazy, off the hook, all that stuff, Trendsetter. This is the match to see.
Listen, it's in Canada. You've got two Canadian boys in Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. There's no doubt that crowd's going to be electric. It's going to be wild. They're going to look forward to this. But, similar to what we talked about before in the previous match where it was the Women's Elimination Chamber, when we talked about Liv Morgan, I've seen it already, been there, done that type of thing. You could theoretically, Jeff, say the same thing about this match. We've seen Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. We've seen them on both sides. Kevin as a heel, Sami as a babyface, and vice versa. It's what more can they bring to the table? Because at the end of the day, we're not going to complain. To see a Sami Zayn Kevin Owens match going one-on-one, it's going to be entertaining. It's going to be intriguing. now it's become very more personal in terms of, Kevin in this state of delusion in a way where he feels the whole world's against him, even his best friend who he considered his brother, him now stalking Sami Zayn and really looking at kind of punishing him or using him as a vessel, punishing him in terms of what the world has done to Kevin. So very demonic way of Kevin Owens. Usually Kevin's always the angry, upset, but this one is terms of just feels betrayed by everybody in this world. He wants everyone to feel his pain. And Sami feeling the scenario in the past where it was more of just jealousy, bitterness. Now it's personal because you're trying to end my career. So I get it. I'm intrigued by it. It's not sanctioned, as I said before. So I don't really see a winner in this one. I think it's just going to be a huge fight that's going to end in chaos. I do see Kevin walking away from this more than Sami does. So you have that. I just see this as one gigantic fight that's going to go maybe around the arena. Who knows? And you can have some scenarios where it's going to be compromising. To your point, too, I kind of feel this is building up towards, previously I thought a great story leading to WrestleMania would have been Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton, mentor, teacher student type thing. Doesn't really seem to be going that way. But now, with Kevin basically taking Randy Orton out, Randy's going to want some revenge. So we know where that's going. The big question is for Sami. But in this one, listen, I have to agree with you. As much as I hate to do it, Jeff, I think Kevin walks out of this in terms of damaging Sami. What does that lead towards WrestleMania? Because, I agree with you. I hate doing that. I hate agreeing with you. But I do see Randy and Kevin being something that will lead to WrestleMania. And Sami, unfortunately, seems to be the odd man out here. So, but in terms of an exciting match, a match that people are going to be, going at the edge of their seat and excited, and we're going to have chants and going ole, ole, ole. This is definitely one to look forward to, Elimination Chamber.
It is. And like I said, I think we're going to see a lot of returns at the Chamber. I think there's a possibility that Jade Cargill returns. It's very tough to interfere in Elimination Chamber, but I think we could see her. And then an unsanctioned matchup, of course, you can see Randy, because about time he comes back. And I tell you, no one's had a sweeter schedule than Randall Orton coming back from since he came back from in Chicago at Survivor Series. He's had a sweet schedule. He gets injured. You touch him wrong and he gets injured. And I would love to see more Randy Orton, and I hope he comes back, sooner than later. But I think it's about time for him to return for his WrestleMania match. I do believe it'll be against Kevin Owens. But this is the match I'm looking forward to. Would you say that this is the match that you're most looking forward to here?
I wouldn't say it's the one I'm looking forward to the most. You've made that known that this is the one you're looking forward to.
This is the match I'm looking forward to the most.
I wouldn't say this is the one. Yes, it's going to be exciting. Am I going to be excited to see it? I'm going to be excited to see how these two could create something different. Because like we said before, we've seen it before. How can you make it different? That's what I'm looking forward to. But I wouldn't say it's the top priority of the match that I want to see on this card.
Well, obviously, you will let me know which is the matchup that you want to see, because obviously you want to see the Rock, if he's going to get Cody's soul. I think that's probably what you're looking forward to. But of course, to me, guys, I don't hide how I feel. I put my emotions on my sleeve. This is the one I'm excited about. And I love what Kevin Owens is doing, by the way. And hey, let's give props to Sami Zayn. He's getting in really good shape. I don't know if you noticed this, because I remember watching something. I'm always on X. Obviously, it's the most reliable source of fact information that you'll ever find in
4 million on his Twitter, guys.
But I remember the part when Roman Reigns took off Sami Zayn's shirt and they did that whole bloodline. God, I miss that bloodline so much. And he wasn't in the best shape. But now you look at Sami Zayn now, and he's wrestling, and he's really getting in that, in probably the best physical shape that he's been ever since I've seen him in WWE. So good for Sami Zayn. So I'm excited about this one again. And I say Kevin Owens. You agree with me? And I relate to Kevin and Sami because that's more of a kind of our relationship trendsetter. Friends at one time, enemies the other. You turn on me, I turn on you. It just has all the dynamics of what this partnership is here on HSP. And speaking of HSP, we are in the
we ever friends.
Well, I mean, I guess we were just kind of more like cohorts and kind of like, just co-host and co-host, I mean, well, I thought we were something. Anyways, speaking of that, though, make sure you give us a like and subscribe to HSP on the Give It a Shot Network here on the YouTube. Like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss an episode. So you don't miss this episode of our Elimination Chamber preview. And of course, we're going to go live with you on IG this Saturday as soon as the Chamber's over. And we will bring that to you as well. So we'll get into the convo. Guys, we want to hear from you too. So join us all weekend on our Instagram, on all our social media platforms, and tell us, who do you think is going to win, Kevin Owens or Sami Zayn. As we move on, trendsetter, we've got tag team action and we've got a homecoming, so to speak. And man, she came back to the Royal Rumble. She hasn't missed a step. She still has it. The lovely, the beautiful, the Hall of Famer, the GOAT, Trish Stratus teams up with the future GOAT in my eyes and Tiffany Stratton, and they will take on Nia Jax and Candice LaRae. This obviously is going to be a very one-sided hometown crowd for Trish Stratus as she comes back to Toronto. Listen, I mean, there's sometimes, trendsetter, when a win just is right in your face and you got to go for it because this is as much 100% money match that you can think of, that this is a surefire bet. You can't go wrong. You can't tell me that Tiffany Stratton and Trish Stratus are going to walk away losers. No, they're going to come out victorious. They're going to win this matchup, I believe, and it's going to be a great homecoming. And how about Trish Stratus? Does she ever age? Does she ever show, any one wrinkle whatsoever? She is immaculate, and thank God we get to see her one more time in the ring in tag team action with Tiffany Stratton.
Listen, Trish Stratus has found the fountain of youth, and she does not want to share with anybody. Honestly, that woman, you said, does not age one bit. Listen, I'm never going to complain when Trish Stratus involves herself in a match.
Nope.
Ever. Neither will I do with Tiffany Stratton. This is unique because there were signs of it during in the past prior to WrestleMania where there was a possibility, they dropped a little Easter egg of what could be, right? Never really thought it would end up in this scenario where it would be a scenario where Trish, now the babyface, we know why she's in Toronto, Canada. It's literally right in her backyard. Why she's going to be part of this card in this event. Don't need a lot of explanation, like you just said, in terms of why it's involved. Now with Nia Jax and Candice LaRae, they're a cohesive group to a certain degree after Candice has replaced Tiffany Stratton. In my opinion, yeah, it's going to be entertaining. It's going to be great to see Trish. It's going to be amazing to see Tiffany. It's gonna be a nice duo there, but it's gonna be short lived because listen, there are no plans. I think for Trish after this. I feel rightfully so, and then Tiffany is obviously setting herself up for Charlotte Flair. Unfortunately, the odd person out seems to be Nia Jax and Candice LeRae here, so it's kind of sad. So yeah, it will be an entertaining match. Crowd will be excited to see Trish. There'll be spots here. Will be funny. We'll see a chick kick, and we'll see Trish. Listen, from physical standpoint, she has not aged a bit. She looks perfect. In terms of trying to do the Stratus faction, she has had some difficulty doing that and getting up there. So hopefully that resolves itself by the time Elimination Chamber comes around. But yeah, listen, I won't complain about it. It's an attraction. You need those events at certain points, and that's what lies here. I would like to see a little bit more between Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair. Granted, they still have some time to build that up right there, but
I think we'll see some interaction.
Yeah, but I love to see that.
Get her ass kicked all the time,
Mm-hmm.
Besides seeing Tiffany Stratton get her ass kicked all the time by Charlotte Flair, we'll see the tables turn a little bit, so you got time for that.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to this. I think Tiffany Stratton and Trish will come out victorious in this one.
I mean, guys, if there is a surefire bet, 100% I can't miss is this matchup. Book it. Tiffany Stratton and Trish Stratus will defeat Nia Jax and Candice LeRae. Obviously, it's her hometown. It's Trish Stratus, Hall of Famer, the GOAT. I mean, this is...
Does Charlotte show up, do you think?
She could show up, obviously, definitely. So a lot of people showing up, I think, too. So you could definitely think that Charlotte Flair might want to get a close peek. She might be ringside doing commentary, but the WWE Women's Champion will get her comeuppance. Charlotte will get her comeuppance, and I believe that Tiffany Stratton will turn the tables just a little bit as they head into WrestleMania. So we've got that matchup too. Tiffany Stratton, I think, and they make a good team. There's a lot of cohesion there. If you're checking them on Instagram and their training videos and everything like that, obviously they're having a lot of fun with this. So obviously, good to see Trish Stratus back in Toronto.
I'm having fun with it too.
For the Chamber. All right, trendsetter, as we move it along. The Men's Elimination Chamber. This is the one where I think that WWE has done a great job in what is going to happen here? Who is going to get that final spot? Who is going to go on to Mania and take on Cody Rhodes? Damian Priest, Logan Paul, Seth freaking Rollins always has an opportunity there. And let's start with Seth freaking Rollins, trendsetter, because him and Cody Rhodes kind of had a little heart-to-heart about Cody selling his soul. And it was a good lead-in to make you believe that Seth freaking Rollins was going to come out victorious, or how he had a legitimate chance to see him and Cody Rhodes again. Do we want to see Cody and Seth freaking Rollins again? Hey, if there's any way that Cody sells his soul, maybe having a heel Cody and a Seth would be very interesting. But that, to me, still doesn't make me believe that we're going to see the Seth freaking Rollins. John Cena, to me, has been the story from the start. But then again, he has injected himself into this matchup. He was like, this is what's best for business. And to me, I think it would be best for business that we get Cena versus Cody Rhodes. So, no insult to Damian Priest, but Damian, I don't think right now is in that category where he should be main eventing WrestleMania, although he is in the main event scene. Logan Paul, to me, is a wild card because the fact that he is Logan Paul. To me, I think they got to jumpstart him because it feels like he kind of doesn't belong in this picture right now. And then CM Punk, if he's ever due a WrestleMania main event, it's now. And a guy like Drew McIntyre, I would not be upset if Drew McIntyre comes out and we get Cody and Drew. I would not see anybody bat an eye if it's Drew McIntyre and Cody Rhodes. But it's just, to me, with the whole Roman Reigns situation where he's out and The Rock now looking for souls and Cody Rhodes, I don't know who's going to come out victorious, Trendsetter. This is a tremendous job by WWE Creative in making me scratch my head and be like, there's so many possibilities heading into Saturday.
We find ourselves in an interesting situation, Jeff, because with every single person on this is the first time that at least I could recall it. Maybe since the first Elimination Chamber that happened at Survivor Series back in Madison Square Garden, where you could literally put the case for every person in this chamber to come out victorious. And to that credit, too, you could give some type of reasoning why, and it would make sense. Like you talked about Drew, you talked about, Seth, you mentioned Damian Priest. Listen, as much as I hate to admit things, you know how much I hate to admit it, right? But I'm man enough to admit it when it's true. When it comes to who has the most momentum you could say it for a lot of the guys here, right? In terms of legitimacy, like you said, Damian Priest, right? Damian Priest, as much as you might think he's not ready, you can clearly see the company get behind him because he's had some high-profile matches. It's that all start with Bad Bunny to where he is now as a former world champion, and you can definitely tell the company's behind him, and the crowd's behind him too. They're behind Damian Priest, right? Nobody's going to complain about Drew McIntyre in terms of the legitimate cases he gives for the fact that he's been screwed out of his moments. He had opportunities here, and he's never had that fair one-on-one thing or that one-on-one match. Still hasn't, and could still be a favorite going on here. And him and Cody, there's a storyline there. There's an arc that you can get interested in. Seth Rollins, the architect who was the shield, the legitimate shield for Cody Rhodes, that you can clearly say, I think, with nobody arguing, if it wasn't for Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes would not be WWE champion at all because of him. And you look at Logan Paul, you say a wild card, but again, at the same time, this guy brings an audience unlike anybody else. And to see him in the scenario where we didn't feel he was worthy enough to face Roman Reigns at Crown Jewel, in a second or third match in to face that, but yet made it believable that it could possibly happen where you could defeat Roman Reigns, clear legitimacy there. And as much as I hate to admit it, before I get to him, John Cena, everyone wants a feel-good story, right? We know this is going to be John Cena's final Elimination Chamber match. And he's been in quite a few, right? He's won some, he's lost some.
To me. This is the story to me.
And people want him because, listen, we've talked about the Royal Rumble. Elimination Chamber is coming up too. I don't know if there are any other ways that John could possibly get himself in a title picture if it's not this. So that's where the legitimacy comes. We're like, wow, this really could be his one shot. He's calling a shot like Babe Ruth, saying, I'm going to WrestleMania. I'm going to break the record. All this stuff, all great, right? After the Royal Rumble. And this could be his last shot. So it makes it intriguing here. But I have to go back to the fact that as much as I hate to admit it, the one person here who's had the most momentum has been CM Punk. And as much as there's star power between a Cody Rhodes and John Cena, in terms of the star power there, I just think CM Punk brings even more, I hate admitting this, but a higher level of star power here because of the mere fact that right now every promo he's hitting is on fire. I can't say every match he's had has been on fire, but it's been interesting and it's been must-watch TV on Raw or PLE, right?
He's gone out healthy. It's all we could ask for is he's come out healthy out of all these matches.
100%. And again, his scenario where he wants desperately to main event. The one thing he hasn't been able to do in his career is to main event a WrestleMania. This is his last opportunity, I feel, because listen, there are more days behind him than there are in front of him for CM Punk. You'd be naive not to admit that. Even Phil Brooks / CM Punk would admit that as well. So he's going all for it right now. He has no other opportunity but to win this one. So that's why when it's all said and done, and my ramble here is almost over, I think CM Punk will walk out of this, and it'll be CM Punk and Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania.
You know, the little teases that CM Punk has mentioned when he does get in the ring with Cody Rhodes from a few weeks ago about, hey, if I'm going to stab you, I'm going to stab you from the front. And the only thing I needed more to hear was that if CM Punk had come out and says, I need to main event WrestleMania, if he would have come out and said, I need this more than anything that you guys ever know, but he's in recent interviews and he's just been, I don't know if he's been doing this on purpose and kind of not, I guess what he does is he's accepted that, hey, WrestleMania might not ever come and he's cool with it. And you've heard him say this before to Ariel Helwani and telling it to everybody, you know, that it's more about, you know, creating something, I guess. And that's something where CM Punk from 10 years ago would have had a problem with it. But is he putting us to sleep a little bit? Is he kind of making us not expect this? Because the best thing that would happen here is if CM Punk was the one to sell his soul to The Rock. If he was the one, if we had out of anybody, how shocking would it be for corporate Phil, for CM Punk to want it so bad to main event at WrestleMania that he sells out and he takes on Cody Rhodes and he comes out victorious. And as much as John Cena would be an amazing story, a feel-good story, maybe he doesn't need that championship, that 17th championship. He said so himself, you know, and it would be very hard to see John Cena have a win streak some way, somehow, to get somewhere to the middle of the year and try to get that title shot, knowing there's only a few months left in his run. I'm going to say CM Punk. And remember, there is that underlying favor, too, that Paul Heyman owes. So whether it's, and we're talking about the chamber. We're not trying to predict more than that. This whole corporate CM Punk thing would be really good. But what I'm trying to say is the crowd would go crazy if it was either Cena or CM Punk. And I think if I had to pick right now, it's going to be CM Punk. And I think that we're going to get CM Punk and Cody Rhodes, and good Lord, that would be great. And to think these two guys were under the watch of somebody else just a few years back, and to let them go and see the main event of WrestleMania, ooh, man, got to be a tough pill to swallow. No pun intended there, Tony. And man, oh man, if we get CM Punk and Cody Rhodes, you can't go wrong.
Listen, dropping the ball is an understatement when you talk about that scenario. Hindsight's 2020, of course, Jeff. But listen, I look at it in terms of need of a character's necessity in all this. You look at all these individuals. If they don't reach WrestleMania, they still have other opportunities down the road. Even a John Cena right now, not that he has more opportunities in the future. This is it for him. But his legacy is already segmented as one of the most popular, if not one of the greatest WWE quote unquote superstars of all time. So does he need to break it? No. Would he like to? I don't know if John's selfish enough for that particular thing, unless it was, as he said, good for business. Maybe they want to do that for him. I don't know, but I don't see it happening. I think
all right,
the person that needs it the most, as he said, is CM Punk. I think that's what we're gonna get.
So I want to lay this out to you, the HSP universe, the crew, and to you, Trendsetter. Put all your feelings towards Phil Brooks aside, right? Let's just talk about CM Punk, the character. Mm-hmm. The crowd in Toronto, who would they shed a tear for more if, after all is said and done, would they shed a tear more for CM Punk pointing at the sign and the fireworks going off, or for John Cena to point at the sign and the fireworks going off, and then you see the graphic, Cena versus Cody, or then you see Punk versus Cody? Who do you think the crowd would pull for the most? Who do you think the crowd would shed a tear for the most out of these two guys at the chamber?
I think it's two separate things here. They would shed a tear for John Cena if he became victorious and he pointed at the sign because of feel-good story, for the admiration for this is the last go-around for him and everything he's gone through where it seemed like inevitable. He was never going to get a shot. Now he has an opportunity. They would shed a tear for that. The crowd, I feel, would go crazy for CM Punk. And the reason why, it's, again, I'm not trying to compare star power here, but if we're going to do that to a certain level, John's not there all the time. He has a connection with the audience, bipolar or not. He has a connection with the audience. But when you look at CM Punk, this guy, 7 years away from the business, and they're still chanting his name in arenas all over the world, not just WWE. They were still chanting CM Punk. You couldn't go to a building in Chicago, no matter what promotion you were, and not hear the name CM Punk. That's not just a Chicago thing. That's all over the world type of thing. All over the United States, whatever you want to call it, right? He is such a master of captivating the audience in an effortless way, similar to John Cena.
Because now we're booking. It's just great.
Yeah, and we're trying to book intelligently, guys. We're not just going from the heart. We're going for what, in theory, makes sense. And I just feel when, as much as you have the character of a John Cena and a Cody Rhodes in terms of the generations and passing the torch, et cetera, you have a more compelling scenario at CM Punk just because he is, as much as you want to call it, he's the man of the people. He is the voice of the voiceless, as he once said before. So I think people would go crazy. They would shed a tear for John Cena, as anybody would, because we know the symbolism is there. But they would go crazy saying, yes, CM Punk is finally back. We know how strong those CM Punk loyalists are. Finally, CM Punk is in the main event of WrestleMania against Cody Rhodes. The promos would be amazing. Not that they wouldn't be with John Cena, but my God, this could go from something that's professional. When CM Punk made those comments, I'm not going to stab you in the back, I'm going to stab you in the front, and Cody and him going back and forth from their history in AEW till now, that would be a great story to look at in terms of that. And obviously we can talk more forward as the conclusion that happens, if that does happen, or that could lead to. But my goodness, that crowd in Toronto would go crazy if CM Punk wins.
Well, yeah, I mean, guys, that's what I'm asking you guys. I'm asking you guys, what would you pop for the most? What would you shed a tear for the most? CM Punk at the end of the night, obviously in shock and disbelief, trying to fight back tears, knowing that he's going to main event WrestleMania, pointing to the sign and the fireworks going off, and then we get that graphic, Cody Rhodes and CM Punk, or the nostalgia factor of watching John Cena in his final run, his final opportunity, his final WrestleMania, and trying to come out and be the champion for the 17th time and break that record. I mean, where do you guys go? I wanted to know from you guys, and let us know all weekend on the comments on Instagram. Follow us there, High Spot Podcast, and leave the comments here. As soon as you watch the episode, who do you think? Who'd you pop for more, Cena or Punk? Who do you think is going to come out victorious? It's all there, guys. It is right there as we're on the final hurdle towards WrestleMania here on the Give It a Shot Network. HSP. Make sure you give us a like and subscribe. And we're also available on all podcast platforms. So if you can't watch us here, make sure you listen to us on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, on iHeartRadio. We are available everywhere. HSP is available for the crew in audio. All right, trendsetter. Oh, man. If I didn't have a soul already, I'd care about this. But obviously, my soul's been taken a long time ago, and I know yours is nowhere to be seen. But there's a soul to be had, trendsetter, or maybe not, at the chamber as The Rock, the final boss, comes back. And he wants an answer from Cody Rhodes. Will Cody Rhodes sell his soul to The Rock at Elimination Chamber? Now, when I saw this promo, I was like, what the F is going on here? This is clearly not the final boss from last year. God, I missed that final boss. God, I missed that amp up to WrestleMania last year. We're getting corporate final boss. We're getting the kind of Vince McMahon kind of chairman of the board, the head of TKO, the parentheses owner of WWE, wanting to claim Cody's soul. And we know Cody is the biggest baby face. They have a friendship outside of it. Does Cody Rhodes sell his soul? And I don't even know what that means. Are we going to get corporate Cody? Which I don't think we're going to see that, because I think he's too much of a face. He's the baby face. He's QB1. what the hell does this mean, Trendsetter? What are we gonna get? And two, it doesn't have to culminate in a match, as The Rock has said. It's such a good plot that we don't need a match. So where do we go from here, Trendsetter? What does this all mean? What are we gonna expect? We're gonna expect a long promo, a lot of talking here, and in my opinion, Cody Rhodes is just gonna say no. I'm not gonna, as much as I love you, Rock, I'm not gonna sell out. My soul belongs to the people, something like that. What do you think? What do you think? What do you make of all this too?
What I make of it is just I kind of shake my head and kind of like, what was that I saw? But again, I'm not poo-pooing on it. I'm just kind of trying to come to terms of what I saw and what it could mean, right? And listen, everyone has their point of view. Everyone can have their take on it, and that's the beauty of this too. Even something as, in my opinion, as weird as that was between Cody and The Rock, which I'm sure a lot of people were anticipating it from the last time we saw them in the ring together. And that I'm not talking about Saturday night's main event or Raw, for example. I'm talking about the Raw debut on Netflix. I'm talking about the last time they were there, the night after WrestleMania. Rock has the People's title. Cody has the WWE title. He shakes Cody's hand in Final Boss Matter and says, whether it's next year's WrestleMania or the year after that, I'm coming for you, he says, in all cleanest way I could say that. And when you look at now this version of the conversation, it's like, okay, well, now with Rock saying the comment that a match doesn't have to culminate in order for the story to continue or for even to come to an end to a certain degree, I'm not going to lie, I'm a little disappointed because that's what you're hoping for. You hope you could see another match between The Rock or Rock and Roman Reigns. I don't know if that's no longer ever going to happen, but when we're just focusing on this, when The Rock says something like that and says, I want you to be my champion, clearly this is now a battle between who is the people's champion. Is it The Rock? Is it the final boss who's been known and through his illustrious career as the people's champion? And now Cody is this new this champion of the people type of thing, right? So interesting dynamic there. Don't necessarily like the delivery, but to your extent, it's similar to what we have. And guys, we have to go back and compare it to certain things because that's the only way it makes sense to us. Of a Stone Cold Steve Austin, a Rebel, somebody that the audience was 100% behind, different character in terms of Cody, but the crowd loves Cody. They're behind him. Not everybody, but if you're a Roman lover, you're not, but the crowd's behind him. They're going, whoa, every single time. So with that being said, now you have a final boss in a similar Vince McMahon. Have I said that name before? I haven't said that name in a really long time.
Well,
a Vince McMahon type of role where
back
like
in the news, yeah.
I know we can do this the easy way or we can do it the harder way, and it could lead to a lot of compelling television. But again, similar to what I said before, it led to the two clashing physically, Vince McMahon and Stone Cold Steve Austin. And now if that's not a possibility, it could be that we're being worked here.
You know why it doesn't work? Speaking of work, you said the perfect here for me to interject here. You know why it doesn't work? Because to me, Austin, what you said was that rebel and was kind of tough to conform. I don't know what The Rock has to conform in Cody because he's doing everything the company's asking of him. He's a true face. Not like Stone Cold Steve Austin, where he was, like you said, a rebel, someone that had to conform to Vince's rules in order to sell him, in order to make money, right? To be the corporate way. And I think that Cody, I'm not gonna say he's corporate, but he does everything the company says. He does the interviews. He says he makes the towns. He does all this and that. So what are we talking about here, though? As my champion, what more is there to do? So that's where this loses me a little bit. I'm all happy for New Orleans getting the WrestleMania, but him coming out there, I much would have rather had him come out there and just say that than this, because if it's not going to be a match, like what's it going to be? I'm not going to poo-poo, like you said, I'm not going to poo-poo the storyline, but to me, it just has me a little bit confused. Does that have me intrigued? It has me more confused than intrigued.
Well, the reason why I looked at it from this point was the fact that I thought Rock was going to come out and say, I want the title. And to Rock's point, it didn't necessarily have to lead to a match between The Rock and Cody, but he would say similar to what Solo would say or similar to what Jacob Fatu, he wants that back in the family. He's the final boss. And to your point too, yes, it's not fair to compare Cody Rhodes and Stone Cold Steve Austin, two completely different characters, dynamics in terms of how they connect with the audience. But Cody is a company guy. But the thing is, The Rock, the final boss, is controlling of everything. If he doesn't have control of anything, it's chaos for him, similar to like Vince McMahon, right? So that's, I think, the intrigue there. What Rock wants. He looked at the one person that ruined his family tree, and now he wants, if you can't beat him, you want to control it. You want to control it, and you do what I say. You jump as high as I jump. I tell you to jump. Granted, he has done that for the company in the WWE, but in terms of The Rock saying you do it the way I want you to do it, I think that's the aspect of the final boss. I want to control everything. The WWE is mine, and so is the WWE champion is my champion. I think that's what he's referring to here in that aspect of it. But I would have liked him more if he said, I want the title back into my family tree, to my bloodline, his own version of the bloodline. That would have been interesting as well. But like I said, I think to answer the question, I was a little bit long-winded when I was talking there, but you interjected. That was great in terms of that aspect of it. I just feel that Cody won't sell himself out. It's going to lead to WrestleMania, and it's going to lead to a scenario where after Elimination Chamber, Cody's going to defy the final boss, and that's not going to bid well for Cody at all, leading to WrestleMania.
You think we close with this?
I think that should be the end of it. I really do.
Okay.
Not
so
that I think the men's elimination chamber should be the final one, but I think they're going to close off with the final boss.
Yeah. You could do that, and I wouldn't blame them if they did that. I think too, though, the emotions of who's going to that WrestleMania have their moment to point to the sign. I believe that's how it should close. So I might think that this actually might go right before it. I could be wrong, but I would say that if I were to say right now, what the
could it start to show off the final boss, maybe.
It could start it, so we would know it could, but I'm going to believe that the women's chamber is going to do it. I just believe that's how it's been going on when you have these men's and women's matches. So it's going to be interesting, Trendsetter, because again, I would have liked it if, for example, this is The Rock's way of keeping your enemies close, right? In the way he schmoozed with Cody. We've been on a binge. Where he keeps his enemy close and schmoozes and invites him to these openings and all that stuff, to these premieres. And I honestly think that would have been a great way to go. So to me, this just is a little bit confusing. I'm pretty sure we'll get our answers at the chamber. I hope so. And I honestly think that if it would have been, it's just a whole lot of, maybe it's WWE's way of having all these cloudiness that we don't know. Maybe it's a way of teasing us. We don't know what's going to happen, which is a great part. So us being confused right now maybe is what the WWE is planning on doing. And if they're doing that, then good job, because you got two confused guys here about what the situation is.
I'm sure we're not the only confused guys in the world.
But our answers are going to be all our questions are going to be answered at the chamber. I'm looking forward to it, Trendsetter. Make sure you catch our IG live right after immediately. And the only thing else I'm going to say is, before we put a ribbon on this one, Trendsetter, is again, you have 4 matches though, and then you have the final boss and Cody. I'm not paying all that for a PLE in Toronto. I'll tell you that right now. I'm not. As much as I'm looking forward to Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, I just am not going to pay all that money for 4 matches. I know The Rock's going to be there, right? But to sit there and see all the commercials and all that stuff, it's very tough, man. It's very tough to sell you on 4 matches. But The Rock's going to be there, so we're going to be there too, folks. So make sure you catch the show immediately after the HSP Elimination Chamber post show on IG Live. Make sure you catch us there. This has been a great show. Obviously, we have previewed the Elimination Chamber. We have beat it to death, and we want to hear from you guys. Now it's your turn. We've given you the show. Once everything sets in, let us know what your thoughts on. Give us our predictions. Share all your comments and everything, all your theories with us on all our social media. But make sure, first and foremost, you like it and subscribe here on the Give a Shot Network, and hit that notification bell, because we're going to be with you through WrestleMania. And make sure you follow us again on all podcast platforms as well. But Trendsetter, it is the chamber. The final pit stop is done. After this, it is WrestleMania in Sin City. And could we see the Second City Saint main eventing WrestleMania? All right, Trendsetter, man. Do what you do best and send us home, brother. But this is an exciting time for us.
It is. It's an exciting time. It's always been this time of year, like I've mentioned before, in joking and in jest, but I really mean it. It's my Christmas, guys. This is where I get excited. This is where, the lack of sleep and the waking up early and just doing a whole bunch of stuff that you're not happy of doing, but you're doing this, which is something you're passionate about. I love it. I'll never complain about it. I think Jeff and I, we always joke about it's a passion of love, or it's definitely worth the punishment sometimes when it takes to do this. But we love it because we're sharing it with you guys, the crew. Can't believe we're almost close to WrestleMania, man. Just seems like it's gone way too fast, like Jeff said as well. So, guys, thank you so much for listening to this episode of the High Spot Podcast. For me, the trendsetter, my tag team partner, Jeff Martin, we are the Jersey Wrecking Crew. Looking forward to Elimination Chamber. And as much as we might think we're going to get the answers, to steal a quote from Rowdy Piper, I think they're going to change all the questions after Elimination Chamber is over. So, guys, thank you so much for watching. Remember, we do this for one reason only. We do this for you, the
crew. See you at the chamber. IG Live. HSP.